Hello everyone, welcome to Draw the World. I'm Fadi, and in this video I'm going to share with you 7 lessons I have learned from copying just a single panel from a comic book, Batman DC. Throughout this experience of copying a single panel, I have learned 7 lessons, and I would like to share it with you. All I want from you is to bring whatever medium you use. Whether it's just a pencil and paper, that's more than enough, or a digital drawing tablet, or like myself, a Procreate pencil and an Apple Pencil and a Procreate program on the iPad, whatever. And I'll see you by the end of this lesson. Here we go. The first thing, I start by drawing the frame of the panel. And then I draw the scene building in a very rough sketch, which is I called the searching lines. The first lesson I have learned from copying a DC comic panel is that I have to put the end of the scene in mind before starting putting the pencil into the canvas. What I mean by this is that I do not let the workflow takes me to new places that I want to go to. This really works very well if you are drawing just for meditating or relaxing or just for the sake of drawing. But if you are targeting a special or specific style, you have to put in mind first the end result that you want to reach. The second lesson is that the scene setup or building comes first. Before moving into details, you have to make 100% certain that this is the scene or the setup that you want to reach. I mean by the proportion of the character and the whole look and feel of the buildings and the characters and so on. So before moving into details, you have to make 100% sure that this is what you really want. Number 3, do not rush details. Rushing details will put you early in a lot of trouble. Let's say that you have starting adding some fine details into the character and the building and whatsoever, and afterwards you find out that this is not exactly what you want and you are not satisfied with the end result. This thing will reflect some kind of depression, because I've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort in detailing, and afterwards this is not the result that I want to have. So you have to redraw a lot of things, and sometimes it is not forgivable that much to edit and fine-tune some stuff. So before going into details, please make sure that the whole figure and the whole scene is that what you really want. Number 4, make mistakes. Please make mistakes. Erasers are forgiving, but sometimes we artists are not. We fear to use the eraser. We feel that it is kind of a downside that we use the eraser every now and then, or maybe adjusting some proportions here and there. We feel that this is a fail and this is something that shouldn't be done. We have to put our hands on the canvas and start drawing or penciling, and then we have everything perfect from the first time. Well, this may be a level that you will reach one day, but this is not the case, and this is not what we are willing to do. We are just having an image in mind, as we have mentioned in number 1, and we are trying to reach this area. In between, we have to make mistakes and we have to use our eraser, and there is nothing wrong about it. Now, as you can see, after I have done with the sketching roughly or the searching lines, I'm now drawing over the searching lines, making some few details for the character and for the buildings. But after I have make 100% certain that this is what I want and I do not want to resize or play with the proportions of the building and the character. Number 5, inking, guys. Inking, be very careful when you are inking that you are inking according to the subject that you want to ink. What I mean by this is that if you are inking a female, you don't have to put a lot of ink into the details of the female, because this will make her a little bit less feminine. But if you are drawing 3/4 silhouette of the female character, you have to put a lot of ink. So it depends on the subject and the scene you want to reach. In this case, as you can see, I will put a lot of ink inside the character and the building. On the right hand side specifically, I will cover it up with ink. But on the left hand side building, I will be careful while inking it. The minimum the color palette you use is the best. That's what I noticed from copying a DC comic panel. They can use, as you can see, like 3 colors maximum or 4 colors, and they use some gradients. As you can see in the sky behind the subject Batman, there is a gradiency, you know. So, and the building itself, we have 2 color as gradient, but we don't have to put a lot of colors. I have read once that the best colored picture is that the one that gives you the impression that it is not colored at all. Lesson number 7, reduce saturation. Reduce the color saturation. In this comic style, you have to reduce the saturation of the color and add some noise. This is the magic of digital drawing, that you have colored all the panel. You can reduce the saturation and add some noise to give you the matte look of the traditional comic book.